Hey, it's Tom from NLPTimes. I've had a really good question from a visitor, and it's, how can I live a more fulfilling life? And that's a cool question because, with so much information and a lot of different things demanding our time right now, there's a lot of people that are dissatisfied to varying degrees with where they are in their life. So you have some people who are really happy and everything's wonderful, and then you've got other people who are in real depression and pain and dissatisfied with where they are. What I want to do in this video is share with you quickly 6 key ideas that when you begin to put into practice will enable you to live a more fulfilling life. Now, this is YouTube, so I'm sure I'm going to get flamed by different people about things. If you've got some additional thoughts you want to share, feel free. First key idea though that I want to help you set up is this idea of mastering your senses. See, in order for somebody to describe something as they're having a fulfilling life, typically for most people they have a kinesthetic, they have a feeling, something that lets them know that they feel fulfilled. And then that perception gets colored and affects everything else in their life, typically in a positive way. How you get to that is partly by mastering your senses. Most people are unaware that the conclusions they've drawn, the feelings that they have, are a consequence of what they have thought and felt. Even what you feel, by the way, the emotions you experience are a consequence of how you have been arranging your thoughts in your mind and sensations and what you've been making stuff mean. Therefore, if you want to experience a more fulfilling life, it means mastering your senses, consciously choosing where you direct your attention. Right now, on TV, on the web, there's a lot of people fighting for people's attention all the time. They're always looking, obviously, to try and get your, mine, everybody's attention to some outcome or agenda. So on TV, you'll find that a lot of advertisers are putting, for example, beauty products or the beautiful home or any number of kind of things that are perceived or they want you to perceive as desirable as the status quo of what one should aim for. If you do not take control over what you pay attention to, how you give your attention away, and you let other people push ideas in, whether that's by what you read on the web, the news channels you watch, the TV programming that you view, etc. All of these things, and obviously the people you have around you, all of these stimulus have a great impact on the individual. So if you want to experience a more fulfilling life, it means consciously choosing to master your senses, where you stick your attention. If you find that, for example, you get down or you don't feel as happy when you compare yourself to other people and what they're achieving in their life, or that you feel that at your age or at your career level or whatever, that you should be somewhere further and higher than you are, and therefore when you kind of focus on that, when you let your imagination go there, you then begin to feel bad about it because you're comparing where you are to where you expect you should be. You notice there's a gap, and so as a consequence you feel bad about it. Then the first thing is actually take a step back, breathe in, begin to consciously choose where you're going to direct your attention. When you do that, it makes a dramatic difference. Now, the second thing, if you want to live a more fulfilling life, is discover your own truth. Now, truth is one of those interesting words, but what I mean by that for you is, what is it that you really find as important? What do you define in your life as things that you want to do more of, that you enjoy, that are meaningful for you? You have to define really your own class of fulfillment. What kind of activities do you find as fulfilling? And forget about the nonsense and other stuff that people think you should. If you're the kind of person and you love reading a book, and simply reading a book does it for you, and it might be a book on postage stamps for all I know, well, hey, that's fantastic. Then spend more time doing that. And if people want to take the mickey out of you, let them be. That's their choice. Let them live their own life and you live yours. So when it comes to discovering your own truth, it's a lot more internally focused and spending some time to figure out what it is that you really value, what's important to you, and what experiences tend to create a sense of fulfillment and joy already. Because no matter what age you are at this stage of your life, you're going to know that there are some areas and some activities that create more experience and joy. And why not spend more time there? Third key distinction is to practice gratitude and value creation. If you want to have a more fulfilling life, it's really, really imperative that rather than a lot of people where they spend time focusing on all the things they don't have, all the experiences that they've, going through that they don't want, rather focusing on the things you do have, that you do want, all the things that you can feel good about. This has a huge impact on your state. So the baseline emotions that you experience are a consequence of what you have been thinking. Now, there may be lots of people, as I mentioned earlier, like, news programming and channels and people around you that are consciously or otherwise seeding ideas, if you will, inside of you, that certain activities are good and certain are bad, etc. But you have a responsibility for the thoughts that you maintain. The greatest coach you'll ever have in your life is the one that you carry around with you 24/7, the person inside your head. For most people, it's that internal voice, and for a lot of people, it's a negative internal voice. So, as a consequence, they tend to compare and focus on and use their imagination as a weapon, in one sense, against themselves, without even being aware of it. So when you practice an attitude of gratitude, what you're doing is you're focusing on all the things that you can be grateful for, all the things that you are really appreciative for, the things in your life that absolutely make you smile when you think about them. The more you do this, the more you experience a profound sense of gratitude, of respect, of compassion and love, I would say, when you do that, when you really feel it. And appreciation, no matter, what you have in your life, you can feel grateful. Even if you are looking around you and you're kind of going, other people may have X, Y, and Z more than you. Ultimately, if you're deeply fulfilled and satisfied, then you can leave them live their lives and you be concerned with you living yours, etc. Now, the second part of that, as I mentioned, practice gratitude, is to practice the art of value creation. And that means is a lot of people have an expectation, there's a bit of a culture that's formed, particularly in the West, which is one of entitlement, that simply because I don't have X, that I should have X and that somebody should give me that X, or this idea that I'm entitled simply because I exist. And for the most part, that is going to get you into trouble. And by that I mean is that, lots of people then get annoyed or upset that, for example, a common one, they go to let's say they go to buy a ticket at a train station and they get there and there's a queue and they feel that they shouldn't have to wait. They expect that they should get serviced right away, or it might be a coffee stand and they don't get serviced right away, and then they get all pissy over nothing, rather than thinking more from the point of view of coming from a place of gratitude and also value creation. Look at how can you create value? How can you create value for other people so that they benefit, and as a consequence then you will benefit. I think it was Jim Rohn or may have been Dale Carnegie that made the good comment that if you want to get what you want in life, then all you need to do is make sure that the people that are important around you get what they want. And if you help other people get what they want, they will begin to pay you and help you get what you want. Anyway, this whole idea of value creation and focusing on being a contributor rather than merely a taker will also allow you to feel good about the things that you've produced and created and experience a greater sense of fulfillment in your life. Fourthly, become comfortable with yourself and your own uniqueness. Now, a lot of people are used to this idea of wanting to aspire to somebody famous or to have particular clothes or house or keeping up with the Joneses. And if you find that you've got a bit of that going on, and to be honest, you'd probably have to be inhuman or living in another planet if you're in the West at least. And even a lot in the East, as I've traveled, I've seen a lot of Eastern countries that this emphasis on keeping up with the Joneses and trying to be like other people and being part of the group is the most valued thing. But if you take a moment and pause and think about basically being comfortable with yourself so that you can spend large chunks of time with yourself and be happy with your own company. I promise you, when you can do this naturally and easily, and you can start by spending a little bit of time, if you're not already skilled in this area, of spending 15-20 minutes just by yourself with no particular outcome in mind, just your own company, going for a walk, maybe spending some time just writing down thoughts or whatever rises for you, but ultimately connecting just with you and who you are and what you're about. That in itself will give you a sense of fulfillment and connection. And then you won't be blown around like a breeze, basically, every time the breeze blows, like a leaf. getting blown around by the latest fad or saying that you should think this way or be like that. You begin to identify your own uniqueness and what it is that you excel at. Once again, you pattern in on the fact that you are unique. There's going to be nobody like you. Physically, you have unique, for example, fingerprints, thumbprints. Your brain and how it's organized and arranged is unique in particular to you. How you move and your attributes in terms of how you think, these are specific to you. So the cool thing is there are many brilliant things about you, and the more that you are able to reflect on and identify what those are and connect with your own uniqueness and be at comfort with yourself, the more you will find a sense of fulfillment naturally arising. And most importantly, you can get that fulfillment simply by just being in the present and being in the now, and not needing to have the next gadget, thing, relationship, house, car, clothes, in order for you to feel a sense of fulfillment. Fifth, do more of the things that work. Right now, there are going to be areas in your life that you already experience joy, happiness, pleasure, etc. By focusing and spending more time in relationships with people that you enjoy being around, in contexts that are stimulating, that are fulfilling for you. It may be learning, it may be involved in sports, it may be involved in work or charity or some other organization or something. Essentially, whatever contexts that are already working for you, that create a sense of fulfillment and joy and whatever else is meaningful for you in your life, then spend more time there. A lot of people, they spend time worrying, or they spend time locked in fear, afraid of taking an action, of moving forward on a project or pursuing a goal, simply because they're afraid of what other people will think, or that it may fail or it'll go wrong, and therefore they stay small, they stay inside this little box. If you want to experience real fulfillment and joy, it means being willing to relinquish the fear, being able to move beyond what seems to be stopping you, and realizing that for a lot of time, that's just some negative internal dialogue you've got going on in your head, and taking a step forward. As Steve Jobs said, if you want to do great work that you love. As in the essence of great work is work that you love. And that ultimately, we're all going to check out one day or another, so you may as well embrace fully what you've got right now. So do more of what works and be willing to relinquish fear in your life. Finally, number 6 on how to experience and create a more fulfilling life is keep a journal. So one of the things I definitely recommend if you want to experience a more fulfilling life is have some form of self-reflective practice as part of your ongoing regular ritual. And one of the most powerful ways you can do that is by keeping a journal. Simply writing down what you've been thinking, what you've been feeling, what you've been doing, in terms of behaviors that have been occurring, and just notice the commentary that arises when you notice particular patterns coming up. That can be profoundly useful. And also in terms of fulfilling, simply because in today's age, where we're constantly moving on to the next thing and rarely stopping and appreciating the thing that we have, what tends to happen for a lot of people is time flies because they're so busy moving to the next thing. They don't reflect on and fully value and get the most value they can out of the experience that they've got, the achievements that they have produced, etc. And therefore they miss all the cool stuff that's happening, or at least a lot of it. So by having some self-reflective process, by journaling, you're able to look back and go, wow, I really have come a long way, or wow, I know I've done something that I am proud of, or that was fulfilling or happy, create a sense of happiness for you. So the self-reflective process of something you do at least, I would recommend every few days, ideally able to do it every day or every other day, will be something that will allow you to experience much more fulfillment. So there you have it. Go ahead, choose one or more of these that you're going to put into practice today, and you will experience more fulfillment in your life. In the meantime, if you're watching this video on YouTube, please go ahead and subscribe to my videos now. And alternatively, if you've got questions, you want to get the latest in terms of NLP and additional updates and newsletters, then go ahead and check out www.nlptimes.com. Thanks for watching.